All right. Hi, everyone. It looks like I'm live. Welcome to this Free Code Camp live stream on Vue.js. I'm so excited that they're letting me live stream from this platform. If you don't know me, my name is Gwen, and I live stream on my own channel, which is Faraday Academy, which is in the description below. So for this series, what I'm going to be doing on Fridays on Free Code Camp is build the front-end Free Code Camp projects in Vue.js. And it's going to start with the random quote machine. You can see that I made this repo here, freecodecamp-projects.vue. I'm actually going to post this in the chat so you have a link to it. I basically only did some README files and stuff so far. All right, there you go, if anyone wants a link. And so in this repo, I'm going to make a folder for each project as I go along. And today, like I said before, will be this random quote machine. Now what I'm going to be doing with Vue is actually starting off with the most basic projects. So I'm going to start off or the most basic Vue. So if you don't know what Vue.js is, it's a JavaScript framework, and it's called progressive because you can use it as a very lightweight kind of jQuery-esque CDN import and just import it into your HTML, or you can generate a whole big Vue project and use it more as a full-fledged framework. So today I'm just going to be importing it via CDN into the HTML. So yeah, feel free to post in the chat. This chat is a little bit different than the one I do on my channel. So I'll try to keep up and check the chat every so many minutes. And yeah, otherwise I'm just going to go ahead and get started coding. So from the Vue.js website, I'm going to click Get Started so I can grab the CDN import. Development version includes helpful console warnings. This is exactly what I want. And it's just one import. The cool thing about Vue is that you don't have to use JSX or anything. It uses HTML by default. So you don't need to import Babel or Transpile or do anything else. You can just import Vue and start using it. So I have my code on this screen. This is the same GitHub repo that I just showed you. So it's just a few files. I do have some quotes already ready for this. They're just Bob Ross quotes. If you don't know Bob Ross, he's a famous TV painter. Back in the 80s and 90s, he was the most popular one in the US, I think. And then he has kind of a cult following online now because of his voice and the things he painted and stuff like that. Anyway, I really like him, and there's some quotes. So now in my quote machine folder, I'm going to create an index.html file. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, let me know if you can see that. All right, so now I am going to just create that as a regular HTML file. So HTML, oh yeah, and let me just be totally correct and set the doc type is that correct? I don't know. Let me actually copy paste a basic HTML. Oh, they don't have one here. All right, so I'm going to leave this out for now and just do HTML and then set a head tag. And then, man, it's been so long since I made an HTML file. And then set a body tag. Okay. And okay. And now I'm going to close my HTML. Okay. And now I'm gonna do set a title, and I'm gonna call this random quote machine And so I'm using VS Code right now, and I think for next time I'm gonna have a plugin or get an HTML plugin, because I don't think I even have syntax highlighting for HTML. Or maybe I'll just go ahead and do that now. Let me see. HTML and CSS support. Okay, install. And now it's available globally. I'm not sure if I have to reset to get the features, or maybe I just need to reset the file. Let's hope that's the case. Okay, so now I have a title. So let me do just a plain div here. And close div. And now I'll just put hello inside. All right. Okay, now let me open this in the browser. So what I'm going to do is copy, right click on the index.html file, and I can say copy path. So I copied the path. That's the path to this file on my local machine. And then all I have to do is go in my browser and paste that path. And now I see hello. Okay. Cool. So now on my, oh yeah, so I meant to show this first, but this is just the quote machine from freeCodeCamp. And then this is the demo one, and I'm going to be creating something really similar. There's not a lot you can do with a quote machine, just, you know, or a random quote machine, just a button that gets a new quote basically. Okay, so let me get started. So let me go into my GitHub repo. If I look in the README for the quote machine, I have this mockup, and this is what I want it to look like. So basically I have one card that's going to contain the quotes, and then I have a new quote button underneath. So let's see. So first I need to create a card in here, and I'm gonna import Bootstrap, create the card and the button, and then I'm gonna hook it up into Vue to show you how to do that. So first let me go to Bootstrap. This is version 4.5, and then I'm gonna just get the CSS import. I'm not gonna need JavaScript, the JavaScript import for anything. And now in my index.html file, right below the title, I'll just paste that Bootstrap CSS import. Okay, so now I have Bootstrap, and now I'm going to search Bootstrap for a card. And this looks okay. So basically, you have a class of card, and then inside you have a card body class, and then you can put title and text and stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to get rid of hello, and I'm saving this div because this is going to be where I reference Vue from this outer div. So in this inner div, I'm going to do, let's say, class equals card, and then div, and then here inside I'll do div, and then class equals card body, and then one more div, and I'll do div class equals card text. And that's where the quotes are going to be inside. So I'll put a placeholder here and just say this is a quote. And let me put quotes around it. Okay. That's fine. Let me see what this looks like. Okay, cool. So I do see that, I don't know if you can see it, there's a gray line here and some spacing it added. So this is a quote, or this is a card. but I want it just to be centered on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and add Bootstrap classes for that. And I'm going to add in here, I'm going to use their grid system. So I'll do another div. And this one with a class of, let's see, I think it's container, but let's see if it is. So in Bootstrap, I'm going to look for grid, their grid system. And here, I'm just going to copy this actually. So I'm going to copy this Bootstrap one so I can get to the view part. So let me, all right, oops. Let me do a div and close all these divs. Div. And is there one more? There's one more div for the container. I know that's a lot of HTML nesting. All right, so, oh wait, I messed up. So I put one extra div because I had started that before I copy pasted these. Okay, so I have container, row, and column. And here what I'm going to do is column small and let's say 6. And then I'm going to do column offset. So let me search for offset real quick. Offsetting columns. So it's offset and then the breakpoint. So like offset small of 3 is what I want. So let me do offset small of 3 and see if that works. Okay. That looks, oh, I see what I did. Somehow I lost the card in here. So I have to recreate that card div. That's why there's no outline around the card. So I need a div of class card, indent this again, and then close that div. Okay. And then I want to put some margin on top of the card. Bootstrap has a bunch of spacing classes that are abbreviated. So for margin, I can do margin top of, I think I can do 5. It goes up to 5 maybe. And that should be something, I can't remember how they calculate it, but it's something like 15 pixels or something. Okay, so see, now I have my quote box. That's good. And now below the box, I need a button. So I'm going to create that. Let's see, where's my card? My card's here. So I'm going to create it after the card. So I'll do, but still inside the row and the column. So I'll do button, and then I'll say new quote and button. All right, so class equals, wait, I think it's btn. All right, so in the new Bootstrap, let me just search for button because it might be a different class now. Okay, so it's btn and then btn whatever I want. So btn, let me just do btn primary. Okay, so btn primary. Let's see if that works. Cool, awesome. So now there's a button and now there's a quote box. So now on to Vue. And for Vue, I think where is it? Here is the script tag that I want to import Vue with. So I'm going to put that at the bottom right above my closing body tag and put the Vue script tag. Okay, so now I have Vue imported and accessible in my project. So now I need to create another Vue or a script here. So I need to put script, create a script tag so I can write my JavaScript inside. So I created a script tag, and now I need to declare a new Vue instance. So I basically have access to this Vue variable right now. And so I can create a new Vue instance by using the new keyword, which is just a JavaScript keyword, which creates objects. So I can say new Vue, and then I pass it an object, which is called the options object. So if you've heard about Vue 2 and Vue 3, a lot of people are thinking, oh, I don't want to learn Vue yet because Vue 3 is coming out. Well, actually, this same options object that we're doing right now, you're going to be using the same API in Vue 3. There are more advanced features and things that you can use in Vue 3, but none of this is going away. So if you're thinking about using Vue or learning Vue, you might as well start now because you can use the same API even when they upgrade the version. Let me just check the chat real quick. What application we're using? Oh, Balsamiq. Balsamiq mockups. I've been using them for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. It's just really easy to do outlines. This company. So real quick, they have in online, some kind of online one, but I have their desktop app. And I basically create easy wireframes in this because it's so simple. They give you a bunch of like browsers and phones and stuff, and you can easily add text and move things around. So that's a great way to do quick wireframes, mockups, that kind of stuff. Okay, so now I have a Vue instance created. So now how do I use Vue? Well, it needs to attach to the DOM. I need to give it an HTML element where it's going to live. So Vue knows where to do its magic, kind of. So let's say element, and let's create an HTML element with the ID of app. This is pretty standard. So this empty div that I left on the outside, I'm actually going to give it an ID of app. So now Vue will be able to operate anywhere inside of this div, but not outside. Like if I made divs below this, Vue wouldn't be able to know about them because I told it only to look inside of this app. All right. So you can do a lot of things with Vue. You can basically, on a most basic level, you can make this dynamic in Vue. So I could do, let's see, data, and right now I'm using a data object. So what data means is basically anything you put inside of here will be available as variables inside of your HTML, where Vue is inside of your HTML. So I could put name is Gwen, and then so Vue uses this double curly brace syntax. It's called a double mustache syntax. And now I can just put my variable inside of here. Name. Okay, so something is wrong here. So good thing I'm doing this so I can debug it first. So I'm referencing the element of ID app. And then I'm creating data and I have name. Yeah, so this should work. Let me see. Oh, it is working. It just took a second to update. All right, let me refresh. Okay, good. So there was no debugging needed. All right, so yeah, no problem. Okay, so cool. So I was just showing you how to do that. So basically this HTML is connected to our Vue instance, so we can do lots of cool things with events and variables and all kinds of stuff. So let's see, what do we want to do next? We need to make these quotes dynamic, and then we need to make them random, and then we need to hook up this button to actually generate a new quote every time we click it. So we're going to have to create some kind of function to work when we click the button. So for right now, though, let's import the quotes and try to display them. So let me see. I have this quotes array. So I think what I can do is so I can't, maybe I can just do, let's see, let me create a variable here. So var quotes equals this array. And now if I import this quotes.js file into my HTML, I should be able to access that variable. So source equals quotes.js, and then script. All right. Okay, so now I should have access to quotes. So let me see if I can. Let me now try to put quotes on my or wait, let me see if I have access to quotes here. So let me do console.log quotes and open my console. Let me see. Oh, it's complaining about my HTML document. Obviously my head tag and HTML are lacking a few things that they should have. Okay, so it does print out this array. So I do have it here. And should I fix? Yeah, I really should fix my HTML there. Let's just search for basic HTML page. I don't know what this blog is. Nope. How about MDN? MDN is good. All right. Well, here's what I'm missing too. Oh, I need this. So yeah, these are the two tags I need. So just 1 second. I'll put a doc type, and now let me put this meta tag. Okay, so good. Now it should stop complaining. Sweet, if I refresh. This is just warning me Vue's in development mode, but I already know that because I imported the development version of Vue, so that's what I wanted. Okay, so now this array is available on quotes. So let's do something with it. Let me go into data and say quotes. Yeah, quotes is quotes basically. Can I use that shorthand in the browser? Maybe. Let's see. I'm gonna check it out. So Vue also has these Vue.js dev tools. Unfortunately, in Firefox, I can't zoom in, even though I can zoom in on the console here and every single other tab. I can't zoom in on the Vue dev tools, but I'm gonna try. Oh no, that doesn't work. Okay, well I'll fix zooming, figure out something to zoom in by next time. Anyway, so I can see in Vue, in these Vue DevTools, it shows me what data I have inside my Vue instance, what data I have available. So it's showing me I have this quotes array. So that's a good way, or the Vue DevTools is really useful to check and kind of debug and kind of look around your data and methods and stuff. Okay, so I have quotes available now. So what do I want to do? I want to select a quote and display it here. So I'm going to just create, I'm going to say quote is, or let me call it current quote, the one I'm going to display on the screen. So current quote is quotes and then at index 0. Oh yeah, and then I need to display this on the screen. So now that I have current quote available as a variable inside my template, I'm going to get rid of this boilerplate and use the double curly brace syntax and put current quote there. And let me see. Sweet! We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents. Famous, famous Bob Ross quote. Let me put quotes on the outside of that. Make it more quote-like. Oh, wait. Okay. Sweet, I like it. It's not random because it's just taking the first one in the array, but still a step forward. Okay, so now, oh yeah, I'll need to put the author or the quote sayer here, the person who said that, whatever it's called. So I'll, but let me do that in a second. Let me first hook up this button new quote, because that's the fun part. So now in my Vue instance, I can also have methods, have a object of methods. So basically functions that I can use inside my Vue in my template here, or in this case, my HTML. Let me just create a new quote method here. And so it'll be a function called new quote. I don't need to pass any arguments into this function, so I won't define any parameters. And I'm going to be updating current quote though. So I can access anything on this Vue instance. It's just an object, so I can access it with this. Okay, so actually, sorry, I have this backwards. I was looking at it and I was like, man, something wrong with this syntax. Okay, so the key has to be the name, which is new quote. And then actually, I'm going to make this an arrow function. Oh no, wait, I think because the Vue instance does some stuff, I can just make this a regular function. We'll see how this works. Okay, so I'm going to be updating current quote here. And I can mutate state. What's in data here is called the component state. So I can mutate that just by accessing current quote off of the this object and setting it equal to whatever I want. But I want a random quote. So I'm going to need to choose a random number and then access that random quote in the array. So I'm actually going to look this up. So generate random number in JavaScript. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't see that, Bruce. Doc type, yeah. Isn't that what I have? I think that's what I copied off of MDN. Yeah, it is. Okay, so random number. How to generate random numbers in JavaScript, math.random. Get random integer. So math.random. So math.random generates, let me zoom in here. So math.random generates a random number between 0 and 1. And then you can times that. So I think if I times that by the max number that I want and then floor it, because I don't have a minimum. My minimum is just 0. So let me give this a shot and figure it out. So I have the math object because that's just available in JavaScript. So I can do math.random, and then I'll do times the max number that I want. So that will be, let's see, between, or the max number is the length of the quotes array. So I'll do quotes.length. And actually quotes.length -1 because it's 0 indexed. Okay, so I'll wrap this in parentheses. And then I think, let me just console.log this somewhere else real quick so I can figure it out. Okay, so let me get rid of that. And let's see what that is. Okay, yeah, so it's 2.897 whatever. If I refresh, it's another random number. So what I'm going to do to make this random, or to make it an integer, I'll do math.floor and then wrap it. So math.floor just rounds down. Since I have a number with decimals now, it'll become an integer by rounding. Cool. So I got 2, 0, 3, 3, 2, 0. There's no 4. Will I ever get 4? I'm not sure. Let me get rid of this -1. Or maybe it just doesn't like 4s. It keeps, I don't know if you can see it. It's like 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4. Yes, 4. Okay. All right. So if it breaks later, we'll fix it. All right. So let me copy that and paste it here. Get rid of this line. Okay. So I'm going to say number equals that whole thing that we just did. Math.floor, math.random, quotes.length. Oh, I don't need the parentheses around that anymore because I'm not minusing 1. All right, let me check the comments. Do you need to floor the whole thing? Yes. Because if I didn't, so if I just floored this math.random, then it would come out as 0 every time. And then when I multiply quotes.length, it would always be 0. So I wouldn't be getting a random number anymore. So I have to floor after I multiply, basically. Okay, so now I have this random number from, should be from 0 to 4, we're hoping. Let's see. Current quote, okay. And now we need to get a random quote out of the quotes array. So we can pass in that random index, or we can access it via random index and then set current quote to that random quote. And let's see if this works. It's not changing. Something's wrong. What's going on? We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents. So we're setting current quote equals quotes and the number. Okay. Oh, you know what we're not doing? We're never calling this function. Wow. Okay. We're never calling this function. So we're setting the first quote as the 0th index, but we're never calling the function no quote or new quote. So we have to hook up this button to actually call the function. Okay. Let's see. And okay, so new quote. And so here, Vue.js lets us hook up methods using the @click. So this is actually shorthand for v-on, and then v-on needs to be followed by an event. You'll see this pattern a lot in Vue. These directives it gives you, v- something like vmodel or what else? There's a bunch of them. Oh yeah, v-for for looping, v-if for conditionals. So v-on, and then I'll say on click. When someone clicks this button, I am going to run a function, which I put the name of the function inside of the quotes. The name of the function is new quote. So I'm going to put a new quote in there. And basically, v-on can just be written as an @sign. So that's what I always use anyway. So @click, meaning now Vue is watching for this click event and going to run this function when that click event occurs. So let me refresh in the browser. Click. Sweet, it's changing. Do you see that? Okay. Awesome. So now we're getting random quotes. So this is actually, this actually fits the requirements, I think. Generate random quotes. But there's some more things that we're going to do with this. So no new chat messages, so I guess everyone's following along okay. Let me just check 1 second. This is set up a little bit differently than my regular live streams, so I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. All right, so let's see. Generate new quotes. Let me look at my mockup. Yeah, so I can style this a little bit more. Like I have, I mean, all these quotes are Bob Ross, so I don't need, I can just hard code the author here, and then the new quote button, I'll style that a little bit. So here, I don't like this right at the box or the card. So I'm going to center the button and add a margin top. So let's see. This button, I can add a class to the button. Let's say I'm adding a class of margin top of 2, which is that something like 8 pixels? Okay, that's good. And now if I do, let me see if this works. So margin, oh, I zoomed in again. So wait. Okay, so let me add a margin Y. So on the Y axis of auto. And so that should be margin left and margin right of auto. And no, that doesn't work at all. Wait, what I really want is the x-axis, right? Yeah, the x-axis. Okay, that didn't work. So I'm going to try Flexbox then. All right, so I'll leave the margin top there. And I'm going to zoom out 1. I think this is good. That was too close. Okay, so I had the card. And this column here, I'm going to set this as flex, I think. No, wait. I think there's something else I can do. So I have this column that's wrapping the button too, but I could put the button in its own row. Let me try that. So let me try putting a new row here. So div class equals row, and then close that. All right, so and now inside of that row, I need to make a column, so it's gonna have the same layout as this card. So I'll make a column. Let me just leave it at column for right now. Okay, now close that div, and now, okay, and now I pasted the button in here. And let me see how this looks. Not very good. So I need the same column offsets and stuff that I have above. So I'll do column small 6, and then offset small of 3. All right. And apparently I still need the margin top because it's not giving me extra margin. I thought it was going to give me that, but it seems like I need the margin top still. All right, so for the button, maybe I'll just create a block button so it'll go, no, that's not going to look good. I need to center this button. So here I'm going to say display flex, and then justify content center. But let me see, let me look at Bootstrap and make sure I have that correct. So let me look at their Flex utilities, which are basically a bunch of Flexbox classes. So you don't have to go and create your own CSS. It gives you these classes to implement Flexbox. And I'm going to look at justify because that's horizontal in this case. So I can do justify content center. So let me try that class. Justify content center. Okay. Sweet. And now I have my quote button in the middle. Awesome. Thanks. All right. So, oh, cool. This actually is pretty good. It's not too bad. Okay, let me add Bob Ross here because I need to, I don't know, cite him. Yeah, cite him because he was the one who said the quote. Okay, so I think here I could do, I mean, Bootstrap has their own like block quote styles, but since I'm inside of a card, I don't think I want those here. I just want like regular, oops, Bob Ross. Yeah, I just want regular paragraph tags. And okay, that's pretty good. All right, I like that for now. Okay. Of course, with Vue, and since this is a Vue stream, I'm trying to focus on Vue. This is really simple. In fact, this is almost nothing, but I could still put this in another file to kind of clean it up. So let me create a new JavaScript file to put my Vue inside. So I'll create a new file and call it, can't call it Vue. Let's call it, I don't know, main.js. And now I'm going to, copy everything out of everything out of my script tag here. So I'm gonna get rid of that, paste it here, and okay. So now I have this Vue instance in a separate file. So if I import that file in a script tag, let's see, source equals main.js, and close the script tag. Oh wait, there. So this should work the same way. Yep. Cool. All right, so now I can, basically do whatever I want in here. Now, one of the things about Vue is that I can also, like, I don't have to write all of this HTML inside of the HTML here. I can insert it. So I can insert the HTML through Vue by creating something called Vue component. So Vue.component, and then defining a component here and where it will live inside of Vue. So I don't know. I figure I might as well do that since I'm not starting the next project until next Friday. So let me take, let's take this card actually. So let me take the card. I'm gonna call this quote card, and you're gonna see why it's called quote card, or the importance of calling it quote card in a second. So I'm defining a Vue component, and yeah, let's see. I think I can take, where does it start? I think it it starts here. So I could take this section and put it inside of a template here. So I'm just using backticks so I can, oh wait, undo. There we go. So it will, so I can do it on multiple lines and save the formatting. Okay, I will have to change this though a little bit. But now the thing about quote card is I can now reference it because it's a component. I can reference it as if it was an HTML tag kind of. So I can say quote card. And let me, I don't like the highlighting for that. Let me make that all one word. So let me say quote card and then close it. So quote card. See what happens there. Yeah, so the quote card is displaying. You can see because it still has the card there, but it's not, or I guess it's not seeing the variable because this is over here on the data and methods over here. So what I could do is add these data and methods over to the component. I could add, let's see, after template, I could add a data object, and then I could add methods also if I wanted to, and move these over to this component. So each component would kind of take care of the piece of the page that it's supposed to be at. Like I could have one component for this, I could have another component for a nav menu, and one for the sidebar. But this is such a simple thing. I just wanted to show components here, but I'm going to get rid of this. Oops, not that. Okay, I'm going to keep that part and then undo that. All right. Does anyone have any questions about Vue or anything you want to know about Vue? One thing we can do is actually add transitions. So because animations are so common in web development, Vue has some animation features built into it, which is nice. And I think that would add a nice feature to this app as well. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's still working. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Vue and look at animations and transitioning. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So right now we click new quote, and there's really like no transition animation, but we could actually make the quote animate in, like fade in, fade out, fly out, stuff like that. So let's do a transition animation for the quote. So let's see. Omitting prefix CSS rule. Okay, so they're toggling this. Okay, so they're toggling this element basically, conditionally showing this element with a v-if, and when it appears, I believe they're setting, okay, they're setting some kind of bounce in. So, okay, so it leaves to the right and comes from the right. It fades in and fades out. Oh, that one's really extreme. All right, so I'm gonna add a basic animation here. Let's see. So basically, whatever I want to animate in and out, I can use a transition between it. So let me try to do this for the quotes and see. I mean, this is just showing and hiding, show, hide, based off of a Boolean. So let me see how this is going to work for the quotes, because I don't know. So let's see, transition, name, slide, fade. Let me wrap the actually it would be this, I guess. I would be wrapping, by the way, this transition tag and the template tags, transition tags that you see in Vue, they don't render to the DOM. They're just there for functionality. So they don't add any kind of overhead, and you can't see them in the DOM after. It's just an easy way to add certain things. All right, so let's try to animate this transition. Oops. Okay. And this is kind of interesting because I'm so used to using the Vue CLI, and I just go in there and generate a new Vue application. So it's interesting, going back to HTML and really starting from scratch with Vue. This is kind of fun. Okay, so now I'm wrapping. Actually, this I want to move here. Yeah. So now I'm just wrapping the current quote. I wonder if I want it directly around my what's coming in and out the quote instead of the p tag. I'm not sure. Let's see. So now I need CSS styles. So what this transition is doing is giving me a bunch of classes that I can style in CSS and make these transitions. So let's see. This is a slide fade. That's fine. It's easier to see. So I'm going to copy their styles here because they're basically using, default CSS properties. And you can see that because the transition is slide fade, Vue gives you the class slide fade enter active when it's leaving the screen, leave active, and enter and leave too, the states for those. Okay, so now I need some CSS. So let me add, I guess I'll just add a style tag here. So let me add a style tag, style, and all right, no highlighting at all. That's fine. All right, so now I should have all of these classes active on the DOM, and let me see what the transition looks like. No, there's definitely no transition. So I think this would work. Let me try something. So if I had a conditional element. Let me do what it said in the docs. So let's make a p tag here, and this would be if show, and I'm going to make this variable in a second. So, oh wait, it's vif. So it's the vif directive, the conditional directive in Vue, and then if show, I'm going to say hello, close the p tag. Okay, and now in my Vue instance, let me create a Boolean called show, so I have access to that in my HTML. So now I have show, and let's say false. And since vif, since this show variable's false, it shouldn't show up right now. Yeah, it doesn't show up. And now if I set it to true, it should be there. Okay, good. So now let me set it back to false. And since I already have this button and method, I'm going to add that extra here. So I'm going to say this dot show. I'm going to toggle it. So this dot show equals the opposite of what it currently is. So if it's true, it's going to be false. If it's false, it's going to be true. Okay. So, all right. So it does animate in and out. Cool. So that's working. But how do I do that when it's when the new quote is coming in? So actually, in my opinion, Vue or React. So I did use React for, I don't know, several years at least, and I still use it a little bit for work. But I mean, so there are some things that I like a lot better about Vue and why I prefer Vue. And I don't want to say anything bad about React. In fact, learning React really helped me career-wise to get a job and to work on lots of different cool projects. Vue, I think, is a bit, I guess, easier to use in that they have a lot of conventions that where they implement them using this human first approach. So even their naming conventions, this is a simple example. So let's look at lifecycle hooks in Vue. So they have these lifecycle hooks. Let me see if they list them all at the top. Nope. Okay. Where are we in their API? All right, so lifecycle hooks. They have created, when the component's created, before create, before mounted. When you compare this to some other frameworks like, let's say, React, you have I can't even remember. Every time I try to remember them, I have to think about it. But with Vue, it's like just one word. It's exactly what it does. Mounted. Okay, that means it's past tense and mounted. Before update means before it happened, and then updated, so after the component updated. And you run these lifecycle hooks. Why can't I remember the React ones right now? I was just using them yesterday. Anyway, so they made it much simpler, from the naming to the documentation to how to start a Vue project. I have to eject the Vue team. I'm like preaching Vue right now. So the Vue team made a really smart decision. So back in 2015 and 2014, whenever I started React, it was really hard to create a React project. I became a Webpack expert. I learned Webpack, I learned Babel, I learned React, Redux, all of those different pieces. Vue chose to make it simpler and make all of these different packages under the core of the Vue umbrella. So the Vue core team has its own state management, so Vuex, their own router, Vue router. They have their own the create Vue create which is kind of like Create React app. Vue has it built in to the Vue. They have their own Vue CLI, so it's just, I think the ecosystem is much easier to work with than React. And I like some of their design decisions. Now, bear in mind, Vue had the benefit of coming after Angular and after React. So even they admit that they took a lot of things from Angular and React and tried to improve upon them. So it's not like Vue just made up everything on its own. No, it learned from other frameworks. So yeah, anyways, I really like Vue. I think it's a breath of fresh air in the wild world of front-end JavaScript, where there's so much going on all the time, and Vue's just really nice to use, I guess. Okay. Anyway, so I have this transition. So I think, I'm not sure. So what I would normally do, so if I had built a regular application here, I would basically be going to a route like quotes and then slash the quote ID. And when you do that, Vue routing, when it routes to the new route, you can make a transition like this. But honestly, I don't know how to do it without routing and without, showing and hiding. So this would be an interesting thing to figure out, maybe, how to animate the quotes as they change, I guess, as state updates. Oh wait, so we did talk about lifecycle hooks. So we could do a lifecycle hook like updated, and this is a function. Oh wait, this needs a comma. So we have this updated lifecycle hook. So every time the component updates, which it updates every time we call this new quote function, because it's doing or updating the current quote. Let me get rid of this show stuff. That was just temporary. Okay, so it updates the current quote. And so this will call the update function every single time. So I can console.log. Let's see. I'll just say updated. And we can see this in the terminal. By the way, I'm not saying don't use React, because we actually teach React at our coding school because there are so many jobs in React. So I'm not trying to say it's bad or anything. Okay, I have an error here. Show. Yeah, so basically don't misquote me there. All right, just because I prefer Vue doesn't mean that other people shouldn't use React. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Oh yeah, so I was like, why isn't it showing up? So I have to hit new quote, and you can see it calls the updated function every time. Oh, my face is in the way. All right. So it calls this updated function down here every time. Okay, so because I was thinking maybe there's some way in the updated function to call an animation. What you could do here is set new classes, animation classes. So this would be interesting. So here I could put a variable. I could say, I don't know. So here I would have to put an animating and then animated variable. So I would have to do a set timeout, I think. I don't know. Is that something you guys want to see? Animation? I basically finished a little bit early on this. I thought this was going to take up a longer period of time to make the quote machine. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit better. So yeah, let me try to make this updated lifecycle hook work. And I'll do, let's see, updated. How am I going to do this? Yeah, I'm going to have to use a set timeout to add the class and then remove the class when that's over. So before the class, I'm going to, let me say animating is true. Okay, so I have this animating Boolean right now, and I'm going to set this dot animating equals true. Oh no, this should be false by default because it's not always animating. But when it is animating, whenever it updates, this dot animating is true. And then let's see, and then set timeout needs a function. So I'll pass it a function, and then at the end here, I'll say after 1 second, run the function. And this function will say this dot animating equals false. Okay, and now this CSS, this dot animating needs to be hooked up to a CSS somehow. So I'm going to do that inside my HTML. I'm going to get rid of transition. And here, inside the paragraph tag, I'm going to put a CSS class, but I'm going to bind this class to a variable. So I'm going to, instead of just a string here, I'm going to actually do v bind, and that sets it up to where I can use Vue syntax inside of inside of the class string. So I'm actually going to bind that Boolean. So that animating Boolean, I'm basically going to say if this animating Boolean is true, then I'm going to add this class called animate. Okay, and now this animate class, I think I'm just going to copy what they did here. I'm not that great with CSS animations. But let's see. What would I need? I'm not going to do a leave animation right now, so let me get rid of that. And let's do the animate class here. So basically, what would it do? It would move 10 pixels in and set, okay, the opacity would be 0. And then it would ease in over 0.3 seconds. Let me change this to 0.5 or 0.8. Yeah, so we can see it. Let's see. Animate. All right. Property or method animate is not defined on the instance referenced during render. I think what I need to do here is actually put this inside of a string. Okay. Okay, it seems to like that. All right, so when I click new quote, I don't see anything, but let me look inside of here. So it has the class animating. Okay, so I think what I'm doing is, let me look at class. Class and style bindings. Yeah, there's a couple different syntaxes you can use. There's array syntax and object syntax. So what I'm doing here is doing vbind class equals active is active text change. Oh, I got them backwards. That's what I did. So let me do this. Animate. Oh, I guess you just need quotes if you have a hyphen in there. So I can do animate, and then this should be animating. Okay, so it sets the animate class, or it will have the animate class if animating is true. Okay, so this should work. Let's see. Wait, let me inspect this. All right, so right now there's no class. And if I change it, okay, and it has an animate class. And it still has an animate class. All right, well, it's getting closer anyway. Let me see. I'm gonna check the chat. Just wondering if this webinar will be made available after. Yeah, so this should be up on YouTube in perpetuity. This is just a regular YouTube video. I just happen to be live, and you're seeing me probably 5 seconds after I speak every time. Yeah, so this will be always on YouTube, and next time actually we'll be using the Vue CLI to create this. This is more of a basic introduction, so I wanted to kind of step through getting more and more advanced with Vue.js as we create more projects. Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna just finish up this animation, and then yeah, and then I'll be updating the GitHub repo after this. So I have animate, which is bound to the animating class, or the animating boolean. And let's see. Set timeout, this dot animating is false. I can see this in my Vue DevTools actually. Maybe that would be the better thing. So let me go into my Vue DevTools, and I'm going to refresh real quick. All right, so here, if you can see, it says animating is false. Now when I click new quote, it says animating is true. And, oh, okay. I think what it's doing is it's not waiting for this to finish in the update function, basically. So maybe I'll just make an intro animation. And let me see. So, oh wait, this isn't proper syntax, so maybe that's why it's not working. Okay, let me refresh it one more time. Refresh. For some reason it's not wanting to refresh. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, why it locked up there. Huh. I don't know, I guess my browser's mad right now. All right, so let me check one thing real quick. Let me see. waiting for that to go. And I'll say code or quote machine code from live stream. And now I'm going to push it to the GitHub repo. Okay, so that worked. I'm not sure why my random quote machine isn't coming up anymore, but now when I refresh my GitHub repo, the browser is not happy. I'm actually going to try to open a different browser. Let me try a Chromium browser right now. Let me try Brave. All right. Let's see if it loads. Cool, so that's loading. Oh, good. So we have that animation, which only leaves the screen and never comes back. Sweet. Oh, right, because we're animating from, what are we doing? We're animating from visible to invisible, basically, because we have opacity 0. So it's going from opacity of 1, where you can see the word, to opacity of 0, where you can't see it at all. Okay, so I think what I want to do is actually replace the opacity. Instead of 0, I want it to be visible. And that's the animate class. So before the animate class is there, before it's there, let me card text P. So let me add a class or just styles based off of the card text P. And I'm going to say opacity. Wait, that'll access both of these P or paragraph tags though. Let's see. Okay, Chrome is locked up right now, or not Chrome, Firefox. So let's see. Let me look at CSS first child. So the first child selector. Okay, I can do colon first child. So in card text, I'm going to try that. So I only want to affect this first paragraph. So I'm going to do first child and then set the opacity as 0 here. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh wait, go back to Brave. Okay, opacity is 0. No. Well, the quotes are changing, but you can't see any of them. I wonder, yeah, they're not. Okay, so opacity is 0. And then the animate class is opacity of 1. So I wonder if it's just because of specificity, CSS. Let me add an important statement here. Okay. I feel like there's going to be so many things after this stream that I want to fix. Okay, that's still not working. So let me see. So I had, let me just transition something else, not the opacity. Let me say color is red here. All right. Okay, cool. It transitioned into color red. All right. It would be kind of interesting to also do, I guess, random colors with the random text so they all changed. Yeah, so does anyone? Oh, it's locked up too. All right. So a couple things. The code is available on GitHub. So if you go, let me pull it up in Brave. So if you go to my GitHub account, you can see all of the code, and actually all of the freeCodeCamp projects are going to be here. This is just the first one done in Vue.js. Feel free to raise an issue, to open an issue. If you have anything to add to this repo, or even if you just want to practice contributing to open source, this is a good place to do it. If you have any questions about Vue, then you can post them in the comments below. And you can also check out my channel, Faraday Academy. I do lots of Vue content on there, and feel free to reach out to me. All right, thanks so much for the live stream. In the next live stream, we're going to be working on the next freeCodeCamp project, which is a little bit more in depth. So I think it's going to take maybe the full 2 hours, because we're planning on doing from 10 a.m. to noon. So it should be, or that's on my time zone anyway. It's probably different for you, because I'm on Eastern Daylight Time right now. So it should be a 2-hour live stream next time. We're going to add in some more features, do view from the command line, and a few other things. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and have a great day, everyone.